In the Chinese calendar, 2024 is the year of the dragon, so we expected Dragon to make a significant move. Despite the fact that he appeared several times during the Egghead arc, he hasn't said a word. However, 2024 isn't over, and I'm confident that by the end of this year we will see a clash between Dragon and Blackbeard. Oda has hinted at it a few times. Since chapter 1083, we've learned that Dragon's revolution against the world government has reached the next stage by laying siege to Mary Geoise. This is the culmination of all the revolutionary army's previous efforts. In chapter 1126, we saw that the siege is quite effective, and unless it's broken soon, it might just lead to the celestial dragons starving. There were some ideas that the celestial dragons might initiate another hunting competition to gather food, and that's when the revolutionary army would attack the Holy Knights. If the celestial dragons don't do that, then, as Luffy mentioned, this would be an unprecedented crisis. But what is Luffy doing here anyway? What preparations is he supposed to be making? Most people seem to agree that Blackbeard's most likely motive is to offer an alternative source of supplies. If Blackbeard were able to provide food and weapons to the world government, it would make Dragon's siege pointless. This would give Blackbeard the perfect leverage to bribe the world government and get what he wants. For now, we don't know exactly what Blackbeard wants from them, but it's clear that it would be easy for Teach, especially since he has captured Garp. If the world government is forced to negotiate with Blackbeard and give him what he wants, who would likely be their representative? I believe they would send Green Bull to negotiate. Green Bull is fiercely loyal to the celestial dragons and worships them as genuine gods. It's highly likely that his main concern going forward will be breaking the revolutionary army's siege on Mary Geoise. To that end, Green Bull would even be willing to make a deal with Blackbeard. Breaking the siege on Mary Geoise may not be the only reason Green Bull and Blackbeard's interests could align. If an alliance of sorts were to form, it would also pose massive danger to Shanks. Remember, back in Wano, Green Bull vowed to fight Shanks another day. However, things are never so simple and straightforward. Dragon wouldn't just sit back and allow such a move to ruin the plans he spent so long developing. He needs this plan to succeed in order to bait the Holy Knights out from behind their fortified defenses. The revolutionary army can't simply go and fight the Holy Knights head on. Their defenses must be weakened for any chance of success. Launching a full-scale invasion of Mary Geoise without proper groundwork and preparation would be doomed to fail. Blackbeard, Shanks, Green Bull, Dragon, and possibly the Holy Knights, these are already some massive figures, but I'm sure there will be more involved, like the Shimotsuki clan. Oda has been hinting at a connection between the revolutionaries and the Shimotsuki since chapter 589. In the ASL flashback, Dragon and the revolutionaries who accompanied him at the time were shown on the shore of Shimotsuki village and were supplied with provisions by the dojo in the village. The dojo ran by Koshiru. If ever there was a time for this allegiance to take center stage, it would be in this situation. This could lead to a scenario where Green Bull fights a member of the Shimotsuki clan. I'm sure you've seen theories about Green Bull and the Shimotsuki. Another hint is that we saw the Shimotsuki clan symbol in Sabo's picture in chapter 1054 alongside the Navy symbol. This detail could complicate matters even further, as it implies that there might already be a faction within the Navy loyal to the revolutionary army. It's worth remembering that Dragon himself was once a Marine, and there are likely many who admire him. With that in mind, we must consider another potential complication: the impact of the Cross Guild and the current state of unrest within the Navy. Morale was already falling before the Egghead incident, and now it's likely entering a phase of crisis. If Navy morale is pushed to the breaking point, what would happen if it became known that the world government is secretly using the Navy to make deals with someone like Blackbeard? There are many within the Navy who would not stand for such blatant corruption. Putting these ideas together, if a deal with Blackbeard were to go ahead and the siege on Mary Geoise were to be countered, I believe this is the trump card Dragon will play: the triggering of an internal mutiny and rebellion within the Navy. I believe this Navy rebellion is now inevitable. It's just a matter of when and how it happens. As a result of this divide, the Navy will split into two factions: the Loyalists, led by Green Bull, and the Separatists, led by Fujitora. Blackbeard currently holds the power to massively influence the future of events for both the Revolutionary Army and the Navy. Without a doubt, Blackbeard represents the greatest threat to Dragon's plans. If any of this happens, it could lead to massive plot twists, unexpected allegiances, the revelation of hidden allies, and shocking betrayals. The balance of power now heavily depends on whether this siege will break. Blackbeard intends to ruin Dragon's plans in order to succeed in his own, using the revolution as a means to extort the world government into giving him what he wants. I'm sure Dragon has anticipated such a move and has taken countermeasures. We will likely see that unfold alongside the events of Elbaf. Some people don't pay attention to Dragon's plan because they don't care about the setup. They just want violence and action without regard for whether or not it makes sense. For example, people were calling Dragon a fraud because he didn't fight Blackbeard. For those who don't remember, yes, they have some unfinished business. In chapter 803, we saw Burgess make contact with Lafette and Shiryu, and during the conversation, he told them he found Baltigo, the secret base of the Revolutionary Army. We returned to this scene during chapters 823 and 824, where we are told explicitly that the Blackbeard pirates destroyed Baltigo Island and the Revolutionary Army ran away. I remember everyone making fun of Dragon. Some might say that if he didn't fight Teach then, he won't fight him now. So let me explain the real reason why Dragon decided not to fight. His secret base was already discovered, and it's even said that CP0 arrived there at some point, so what would Dragon be fighting for? Fighting Blackbeard would have been a lose-lose situation. CP0 was dispatched and briefly clashed with the Blackbeard pirates, but what do you think would happen if the #1 enemy of the world government and a Yonko were fighting? Who do you think they'd send? If you guessed a Navy Admiral, you're probably right. In the event that Dragon won, not only would he be tired, but his side would likely suffer heavy casualties, which could include Sabo, the right-hand man of the entire operation. CP0 and an Admiral could easily finish off what remains, effectively crippling the Revolutionary Army and rendering Dragon's decades-long efforts meaningless. Alternatively, if Blackbeard won, Dragon's efforts would be in vain because he chose to fight a pointless battle. Dragon was the one with the higher chance of losing everything. Also, I've always been under the impression that Dragon and his people were already gone by the time the Blackbeard pirates arrived. They didn't lose anything except the base, so Dragon probably sensed Burgess with his observation hockey. Oda has also mentioned that these two characters will finally fight in 2024. Some thought it would be Shanks versus Luffy, because the Straw Hats have just arrived at Elbaf, but that won't happen. I think it's either Blackbeard versus Shanks because Shanks has been after Teach for a long time, or it's Teach versus Dragon. Either way, I believe the situation I mentioned in this video must occur because Shanks can't just go to Hachinosu and fight the Blackbeard pirates. Yes, the red-haired pirates are strong, but it's still the territory of an enemy. On the other hand, the Blackbeard pirates never leave the island together. They're always separated. If Shanks versus Blackbeard happens, I'm sure it'll be a crew-on-crew fight. That's why they have the same number of crew members. We already saw some foreshadowing at Marineford. Oda has mentioned that Marineford will look like nothing compared to the final war. This is why I think every major player will be on the same battlefield, including Dragon, Shanks, and Blackbeard. These events will happen while the Straw Hats are on Elbaf, and later, Luffy and his crewmates will join the war, similar to how he joined Marineford with the Impel Down prisoners. If he was a random rookie during Marineford, now he will be the main player. Big things are coming, and I can't wait to see the final war. Let me know what you think about this theory down in the comments, like the video, and if you want to see more about Dragon's powers, you can watch this video right here. Bye.